the microphone. Oh yeah, the microphone, sorry, yeah.
Can they see this?
I'm just looking. Oops, there's nothing we do. No.
Baden, yeah. Bear with us one moment, folks. We're just getting ourselves organised in here. 2 games that will be streamed will be Adam Lilly versus Baden Jackson, and top right of the screen is Des Wilcox versus Dean Garnett. Good morning one and all, or afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is where you're from. I'm John the Voice Saundercock, and super pumped, even though you wouldn't know it from my voice, that we've gotten to this point. It's quarter-final time in the 2022 8-Ball Superleague Nationals. 4 mouth-watering games for you in this set of matches. Des and Dean Garnett, Adam Shaw and Steve Benton as well, and then you've got obviously Adam Lilly and Baden Jackson in this game, and also you have Simon Singleton and White in the other quarter-final. So no matter which way you slice it, you've got 8 absolutely brilliant players, and quite truly any one of those 8 players can win today. It's that close really. So it's just going to be down to who. Volume's soft apparently.
Volume's at the same space it was yesterday. Oh, that's right. It should be okay now.
Okay, now is that better? UK World Q Sports, thank you for watching, by the way. Hopefully this meets with your approval in terms of the pool being played and the stream and everything, because we know how much you guys love your black ball and just your pool in general. As far as the reds and yellows, you guys pretty much set the bar for that. So we want to provide a product here in New Zealand that's every bit as good as what you guys can come up with, and we're not quite there yet, but hopefully we're getting there. This is very much the start of it. 8 of the very best queuists in New Zealand duking it out here. Get to see 4 of them on the stream here. There's Adam on the right and Baden on the left, lagging for the break. And Baden wins the lag, so he will get to smash off in the first frame. These matches, are all a race to 8, and it is straight knockout from here on. So the loser's out. The winner will progress to the semi-finals. So as Jay-Z Linkin Park once said, after this there shall be no more if you lose. So bring your game. Frankie Chapman, good morning. Baden gets us teed off here, and already looking at the yellow that's right on the lip of that middle pocket to see if it's actually on the lip or not. There's no doubt that's going to influence his decision as to which set of balls he takes. If it's not on the jaw or right on the rail there, then obviously it's a lot easier to pot than if it were on the rail. He's got the yellow next to the black if he wants to take it. Doesn't appear that the one bottom right of your screen will go. Gets a good clip on the black there, and now he's in prime position for that potential trouble yellow that he was looking at before. You just touch it in. He's got an excellent mixture of touch and power as Baden, and generally your touch game's so important, especially with the 1 7/8 cue ball. I've noticed that the players who do best in this format are the ones with the touch game to really suit that cue power that's sometimes required. The cue power normally for anything involving a forcing shot, like shots with top for example, obviously you need that real good swing of the cue to get the ball to really start to go forward after contact. Whereas not so much with the standard 2-inch cue ball, you can generally top it without as much effort. But so much of it is timing and just the ability to deliver power through the cue. So this shot, for example, there'll be a bit of top involved here, so you'll have to cue it with a wee bit more impetus than he otherwise would, and as it looks, I don't think he's really got a good shot here. I will try my best as well to give commentary on the game top right of your screen, since it also deserves attention. There was one frame yesterday where Des Wilcox, who's not at the table right now, top right, well, that hasn't quite gone right. He was hoping to tuck the red in so that the yellow was in front of it, so he took the pocket, but he's ended up leaving the red nice and potable. But Des Wilcox and Baden Jackson played a frame yesterday in their match that spanned about half an hour and was full of safeties and counter safeties and snookers, and Simon and I were talking yesterday about how games and frames like that can be a good advertisement for the way the game should be played. Also, dare I mention it, and I did see it in the other hall, it's Des Wilcox's birthday today. So happy 28th birthday, Des Wilcox. And best of luck for today, as I say with all the players. Double here from Baden goes wide. But yeah, it was an excellent frame to showcase the more technical and safety slash other side, shall we call it, of the game. We've seen a lot of attacking play, but then we get to see the softer side, so to speak, the tactical side where you can really grind an opponent down if they're not ready for it. Deegan Garnett on the black top right, and drawed it, so Des gets a shot at the table up there, and Adam Lilly's nickname of course is Lightning. He's not wearing his Great Southern Knockout top today. Baden Jackson is, and that has his nickname, the Shotmaker, on the back of it. Playing that deliberately for the plant because there's a bit of risk reward in this shot, and there he's just trying to get rid of any finger marks or table imperfections, because that red's going to roll right over top of it. He just manages to get a snooker whilst not potting that red. Drop. No. You can understand why he played for that. It's a risk-reward type shot. The risk, of course, is that it doesn't go. The reward is that if it does go, you've got a nice easy shot on the red for the black. Well, this should be a fairly easy run out for Baden now. Just needs to get his touch right on this wall with the rest. That's a brilliant shot from Dean, by the way. That's an absolutely wonderful shot on the black. He was snookered all ends up, and he manages to come off one rail and pot it. So Dean Garnett 1-0 up over Des Wilcox and Howe. Adam Shaw also 1-0 up over Steve Denton early doors. And same thing here with Baden Jackson up over Adam Lilly, very same score. As I mentioned several times yesterday as well, please jump on to qscore.com and search for 8-Ball Super League NZ if you want the real-time progress of all 4 of these matches. You can find it there. Do what we're doing and have it as a little window on your screen perhaps, so that you can follow that as you're following these particular streamed games. We're fortunate that we've got 3 screens, so it's easy for us, but maybe not so for you at home. But if you've got that capability, use it. Those pockets look very tight. I don't think they are spanner. Obviously I play on these tables as well. I don't just commentate, I do play pool as well, and they're not forgiving if you try to ram them down the rail, for example. They're quite tight down the rails. Generally if you play pocket weight, they're a lot more forgiving with the way the jaws are cut. They do have the propensity to spit out if you're not millimetre perfect, if you play with pace. And thank you for watching as well. I know Ireland's a fair distance away, but there's the magic of live streaming. You can tune in anywhere around the world as long as you've got an internet connection. Simon Singleton also 1-0 up over Healy White. Simon, the current New Zealand Super League champion. I believe he beat Healy in the final last year. It was a pulsating final game as well. I did see some of it on stream. I unfortunately wasn't there, but saw some of it on stream, and it was a wonderful game to watch. That was played at Bowie's in Dunedin, which is Simon's home club, so to speak. He's actually from Queenstown, but he makes the trip to Dunedin on a regular basis to play pool at Bowie's. Oh dear. Look at the cue ball still spin. That's how much zizz he put on that, but it's ended up squarely behind the yellow. No problem with the yellow going down, but it's every problem with where the cue balls landed up. Okay, so you're 11 hours behind. Alright. Yeah, 11:10 at night, so obviously here it's 10:10 in the morning. Going to come off the 2 jaws here, and it's ended up actually going too tight down the rail. It's fractions of millimetres, that is, as to where it actually spits out. If he catches like half a mil less on that jaw, it spits out more towards the centre of the table, and he might end up hitting that red, but right into the jaws it tends to go right down the rail. So free shot here to Baden, and just using it to move the red out the way so the yellow's nice and on. Good morning to you too, Dev Bra, and thank you very much for the shout out. I'll take the rail here. He didn't quite get into that enough to really get that sort of half circle shape that you want on the cue ball, because that would have also taken it more towards the black spot on the way back. That's a brilliant shot though in riposte. That's why we call him the shot maker, because he can do stuff like that. That was not as easy a cut as he made that look. And to have the control to boot, because when you're cutting like that with a small cue ball, it could go anywhere, and he's actually managed to control that beautifully. If he's nice and straight on this last yellow, he'll be fine for the black. He just needs to run it through. And run it through he does, and you could not have spotted the cue ball much better than that. Seeing Dean at the table now, and he's just tied up that yellow near the rail, so may pot this one he's next to, and then the one in the middle, and obviously he wants a nice angle on the one in the middle if he's going for a split. We'll find out how he does there as Baden mops the black up. So Baden Jackson quickly out to a 2-0 lead over Adam Lilly. Yeah, it was a wonderful finish from where he was. Yes, he had a free shot because Adam ended up snookering himself and not being able to get out of it, but the usage of the free shot there was brilliant. He saw a need, he met the need, and then got himself out of position once, managed to play a great shot to get himself back into position on a pot, and then the rest looked easy from there. So these are on cue tables. These are the same tables that we use for Canterbury tournaments. Daryl Chambers on cue, very gifted craftsman. He's made a beautiful looking product here, and also the man to thank for this particular stream. That this is all his equipment, as well as obviously the team from New Zealand Pool Promotions. Got Paul Chivers right next to me. He's the man running all the computers and ensuring that everything is running as it should. Puts an awesome amount of work in to make sure this thing actually looks as good as it does, and it looks so good. Also got a whole bunch of sponsors I'd like to thank as well, if I can remember them. Paul's just going to run them across the bottom of the screen for me now, because my memory is absolutely shocking. There you go. Just if you cast your eyes to the bottom of the screen, just above the player's name, you will see the sponsors just crawling across your screen. So Baden making quick work of this frame as well. He broke successfully. There's on the black here and can't make it fit, so Dean back to the table with 3 balls in the black to go. So where he's put his hand right there is where he wants that cue ball to be. Now, it doesn't look like it's too difficult to get it back there. It's just the hit on the black that's going to be interesting. He wants to sort of flip the black. If he doesn't, he's ended up missing it altogether, which is not too bad either. But if he got a little touch on the black, that would have slowed the cue ball down just enough to end up somewhere where his hand was. There, where it is now, he could get a wee piece of that red just to the left of that yellow. But he's actually played that quite beautifully. He's played that deliberately to go around the red, behind the red, rather than trying to come off the rail, beat all 3 of those reds and still be on the yellow. So there's that touch I was talking about. And Des Wilcox did get another shot on the black, and he made sure of it, so one frame apiece between Des and Dean there. And Baden's left himself half and half here on this black. I say half and half, there's only one pocket that goes in, so let's see if the shot maker can do it again. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Doesn't matter about the red dropping. So 3-0 Baden Jackson over Adam Lilly. And he would have been looking at that red too, thinking, I'm most likely going to pot this, so I'd better make sure of the shot, and that he did. So Adam hasn't really had that many opportunities to get into this match. He's mostly been sitting on his ace watching Baden clear the table. He had the one good chance in the second frame where he unfortunately managed to snooker himself, but apart from that really he's just been watching Baden do his thing. Yeah, it was Spanner. It's just his knack of being able to continue on with a rack even if he's out of position. I believe that's why he's nicknamed the shot maker, because even he said that sometimes his cue ball control can get out of hand, and so he's had to concentrate on being able to get himself out of trouble in case that does happen. And in any code of pool, in fact, the ability to get yourself out of trouble after having gotten into it, the recovery, so to speak, is so important, because where you would otherwise just be kind of give up on a frame. That's another great shot from Baden. The cue ball though he's lost. I think he wanted that to pull up shorter of where it did, so it wasn't behind this red. Would have had a choice of 3, I think, if that had pulled up about 200 mils short of where it was. But where a lot of players just sort of slump their shoulders when they get out of position, Baden very much takes that as an invitation to continue on. Ooh, couldn't quite do it there though. He would have had quite a big slicey cut if he had got that, but as we've seen before, he backs his ability to get himself out of tight spots. And Adam just sticking the yellow over the pocket. He didn't seem too happy though with himself, because he just wants to get on with it. He's had very little table time. He just wants to pot some balls, feel good about himself. Unfortunately, Lee, I'm not responsible for what you put in your mouth. But yeah, I'll try to eat away from the stream if possible. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of time in between games. This time Baden does make the rakish cut into the centre pocket. Now this is another one coming, and he'll want to ideally run into this red just forward of the red he's playing into the middle. Yeah, just like this. And full ball if possible, because that just kills the cue ball in its tracks. Remains nicely on the other one to the middle. Spins this back out well. Imagine he'll take a screw back, take a rail here, perhaps with a little bit of bottom. I'm just trying to work it out myself actually. Bottom right. Bit of bottom right, and take the rail to your right, and then opens up off the rail to be nicely sort of centre of the table, just high of centre. Oh jeez. Didn't want to go any rails at all, and that yellow sat square in his way. Well, he does, John, but he just needs some table time. That's what he really needs. He's probably going to get some here. That's a good out from Baden, but he's ended up pushing the black safe, so don't like his chances of getting another shot in this frame. And Adam needs to recognise that. He obviously wants to finish, but doesn't have to panic so much here. The black getting safe does give him a bit of a cushion in case he runs into trouble. Yeah, Des just went off top right of your screen, so Dean on the reds gets a free shot with ball in hand behind Bolt. That's very well played from Adam. Probably wanted it to go further down the rail, but he's at least given himself a shot here. May decide to go long though to try to get himself back onto that yellow he tried to promote. That's going to make it quite difficult though to go back down table. And perhaps, whoa, no, that's okay. Perhaps not surprising that he opts for the snooker, and that's good maturity actually from Adam. You want him to finish the frame so much, sometimes you overlook that snooker, but dialed it back well and should earn another shot out of this. Just trying to work out what's happened with Dean here. He's trying to work out horses racing. No, not on this occasion. Adam may need to take this ball over the pocket unless he's going to look for another snooker. He's got a fairly simple one on the yellow he's right next to. He can just tap it and go behind that other yellow bottom left of your table. Oh, look at this screw back from Dean. He's left himself a shot on the black too. Great shot. Or he can just be civil and take the one yellow. I tell you what though, the more chances he gives Baden, even though he is snookered, the more opportunities he gives Baden to shoot at this, the more chance he gives Baden to pot this. Even though the black's pretty safe where it is, you don't want to give a guy like this too many chances at a shot. Dean's just going to snooker Des up here. Oh, see? Very nearly made that. And you would have been backing him for at least a double on the black too. So that should be a warning to Adam right there. If you're going to snooker him up, you need to do better than you did. Yeah, well hit. Going to have to possibly play this one over the hole now. He doesn't have to, of course, he can just leave it. Just about in from Des there. Yeah, that's a wonderful pot. That's what he was working with Neil Wally yesterday. Neil was running him through some drills on just concentrating on the pot so much. So you've done this 1,000 times in your sleep, just pot the ball. That was pretty much what Neil was saying to him. Just, you should eat these for dinner, just pot the ball. You know the positions here, just pot the ball. In this one you need position as well, obviously with the black, and that's why he's seeing how far away the yellow is from the pocket, so you can see how much room he's got to work with. That's a terrible shot from Dean. Unless he's left Des hard on the yellow, which I don't think he has. Down goes the black, so well done Adam Millie. 3-1, Baden still leads, but Adam with his first frame. The cue ball from Des is okay. For a moment there he must have had his heart in his mouth. But the nap takes it towards the near jaw, so he's okay. And 2-1 to Des Wilcox on that table. A few other scores for you. Adam Shaw 2-1 up over Steve Denton, and Simon Singleton 3-0 up over Healy White. I do actually think Dean on that shot on the black was trying to either leave Des hard up on the yellow or with the cue ball further towards the top rail so he couldn't cut the yellow in. If he had left Des hard on the yellow, then Des would have had to play away from it. So that's another good break from Baden. He's got that working well for him today. Spoke at length yesterday about how important the break is in this format, and especially to keep the cue ball on the table because of the free shot that you give away if you do foul on the break. Obviously to pop balls off the break regularly is important as well, but probably more so is just to not foul. Because against the very best, you're very unlikely to get another shot if you do that. Could very well look at the plant here. It's a risky sort of shot, the plant, but if he does get it, which he has, and he's played that beautifully too, he's now opened up absolutely everything for himself. See, that was the only trouble red on the table, and he's gotten rid of it. Doesn't matter that he played a yellow first, because it's an open table. You can play anything basically onto anything, and what you pot is what you're on. So just looking now at which order he's going to take these in. It's a good choice of ball there, because that was a potential problem ball later on in the frame with the proximity to the black. The rest of these are reasonably easy going, just needs to keep making his shots on them. I'm guessing this will be a bit of top or even top left. Touches into the black, so that's not ideal. He's only left himself the one red here, and it's quite a fine cut too, unless he wants to go into the top pocket, which, to be completely fair, would be better even though it's a harder shot. Yeah, there you go. See, he was always going to get position on the other red if he did that, whereas going into the middle pocket you were never sure. Ah, yes please, just Coke, 0 sugar. Thanks, Daryl. No, but good weight. Be disappointed though that he didn't get that. Look at the position on the black. But also looking at where the red is, he's could very well be snooker city here if Adam chooses to go that route. Oh, that's a brilliant shot from Des. He's cued that wonderfully. Yeah, a nice simple looking shot on the black. Just to go 3-1 up, and yes he does. So birthday boy 2 frames to the good as Adam develops that yellow beautifully on the left side of the table. Yeah, played the plant to perfection there. He got absolutely everything he could have wanted. Stands up and has another look. Looked like he was right on the gravy stroke there too when he stood up. That's not easy to do. So you lock yourself in for those shots, and if something's bothering you, sometimes your pride or just wanting to get on with it gets in your way, and you hit it anyway. And then sometimes it just goes wrong because you still had that other thought in your head. So Dean's gone and off on the break, top right there, so we'll get to see if Des can mop this up. Yeah, his game's sort of gone off a little bit in the last few frames, so Des is going to take this with glee, you would think. Could work his way into a few of these balls here, could add him. Imagine he'd be aiming. No, he's not going to cut the one in the corner, he's going to go for the middle. It was a big ball that, and he's potted it nicely. So if he'd cut the one in the corner, then he was kind of at the mercy of the cue ball as to what it hit and where it ended up on the other three. But he's controlled where he went very well by taking that ball to the middle. This is going to require some real touch, this shot. Put it in with a bit of right-hand English to just spin off the rail towards the second yellow. So you just like this. Take the rails nicely, be out. Keep leaving yourself that angle. This one actually works well for both. So Des making quick work of that frame, as predicted, 4-1. Now to him. Oh, yuck. Adam, what have you done? Yes, Baden wants to know if that's touching, because if it is touching, then Adam's got to play away from it. As I say good morning to Michael Hayes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, John. Good to be finally joining you on the commentary at last. So no doubt you've introduced the morning's state of play well, but yeah, can't wait to see how these matches go. So much on the line with ranking points and New Zealand team spots in play, so yeah, you can really feel the tension in the room out there.
Yeah, I mean, you've spent pretty much all day in that room, haven't you? Yesterday and this morning, and you would have gotten a good feel for how everything sort of lies, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely, and just chatting to the guys as they're coming off their matches as well, you can you can tell how much it means to the boys out there, and you can see it reflected in the play. So yeah, some great matches. But back to the match at hand, Adam will be looking to try and kick this one into the opposite middle. Very tough shot.
Papalate could be a double. It's not got the legs.
Wow. And I mean, while I know he would have been playing for the opposite middle, just a straight kick in, I mean, you could argue maybe it makes sense to give it that little bit extra, to give it a second chance, but hasn't quite made it. Ooh.
Careful, that's okay.
He's gotten away with that. He was trying to screw straight out the middle of the table. He's got that horribly wrong, but gotten very fortunate to still have a shot on the black.
Well, went from horribly wrong to horribly right.
Yeah, and Adam will be kicking himself there because he really should have had that frame, and the swing's huge. The difference between 3-2 and 4-1. It's that 2-frame swing, so that one will hurt.
Well, it hurts even more when you're behind, doesn't it? It makes a lot of players more despondent when they end up stuffing a frame like that up.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's the mental challenge of this game, isn't it? And these sort of things, the situations are going to happen, and it's up to the players really. You can let it rattle you, or you can try and find a way to use that to refocus you, to double down and try a bit harder in the next one. So I know Adam here, he'll be he needs to get another frame or two on the board and close this gap quick. And it's not an unassailable lead by any.
Are you sure it's Baden's break here? I don't think it is. I reckon this is Adam's break.
Yep.
It looked like Baden racked the balls for him, which is a bit unusual. Normally it's the player who breaks who racks. It was going on about how important the break was before, but so you can obviously touch a wee bit more on that.
Oh, it's massive. At this level, it's everything. When these guys are often finishing frames in 1 or 2 visits, getting the better set is everything. And if you've got 2 evenly matched players and one guy is getting to the table first and getting the better pick of the balls every time, then he's probably going to win that match. So much like serving in tennis, it is an advantage if you can execute it well. So you've got to get it right.
And possibly even more so than potting the ball regularly off the break is not fouling. I saw so many fouls off the break yesterday, and so often the player coming in with the free shot ended up finishing the frame.
Yeah, that's massive. And so in some of the other rule sets, you kind of only really got punished if you put the white off the table. If you scratch the white, it would just be from the bulk area. But absolutely in these rules, controlling the cue ball off the break is arguably the most important thing. Because if that cue ball goes down, it's, at this stage of the tournament, it's most likely going to cost you the frame the majority of the time.
Well, ideally you want the cue ball to sort of travel on the longitudinal centre line of the table or close to it, so that it's away from all of the pockets. If it gets kicked into the pocket, even though it's going back on that line, then that's kind of unlucky, isn't it?
That's a good shot from Adam. I thought he'd left himself a little bit trickier than he wanted there. I'm sure he would have wanted the white a little bit shorter on that previous shot so that he wasn't queuing off the rail and had a little bit more angle. So he's made the pot, but he's had to leave himself long on this one. Fortunately, it doesn't look like he'll need to do too much with the cue ball, so just needs to trust the queuing and put the ball on the hole here.
Do what you did yesterday. Yep, just like that. See, that's what Neil Wally was telling him. Was having a few practice drills with Neil yesterday, and Neil was just saying to him, look, focus on the pot.
I'll be curious to see here which pocket he wants to play the black in. Just because there are a few yellows around it, the risk of getting snookered is real, and again,
he's already done it, hasn't he? And he's ended up hard on the black in one frame.
Yeah, and just going to be a little bit careful running through here. There is a risk of getting caught in behind those yellows.
Can't get up.
That was always the most important shot.
So the little 2%ers, isn't it? He's cueing the ball really, really well, but then just running into problems at the end of the frame.
Yeah.
What's Dizzy Wilcox? Is he... No, it's Dean got that frame, so 4-2 to Des now, and 4-2 also to Adam Shaw over Steve Denton. Simon Singleton's raced out to a 5-0 lead over Healy White.
5-0, and so that match a replay of last year's final, for those not aware, and that was definitely one of the matches of the round to watch. I mean, all the matches in this round are great matches to watch, but I'm not sure many people would have picked Simon to get out to a 5 lead like that.
He can do it though. Oh dear.
It's a tricky shot, he needed a lot of side to turn that and just didn't quite judge it right. So while it's not a loss of frame, it basically puts Baden in the driving seat now. Obviously he's got a free shot to start things off, but more than that, he's not under pressure to clear the table in one visit, because it's very easy for him to keep it tight, keep it safe, snooker at him, potentially get further free shots to develop the frame. So often in these situations, it's as much about being patient as it is about trying to force the finish.
You reckon he'll try and bump this out and leave himself on those 2 down the rail? See, he didn't need to pot that. He's ended up okay on the one to the middle.
Yeah,
so
I think he was just
use that now.
Yeah, played in that yellow. Hey, if he made it, sweet. But I think he was just making sure he got the cue ball where he wanted for his next shot. So good spread on yellows here.
It was going on yesterday as well about how good Baden is at playing to the rules. Mm-hmm. And you had that debate during the South Island Superleague online especially about the two different ways of playing this game. You had the South Island players in general were more aggressive, whereas the North Island players, as we saw with Baden and also Dean Garnett yesterday, were a lot more patient, used the snookers and the rules better.
I think that sort of stuff often just comes down to the individuals as well. There's always going to be certain players have, slightly different strengths and weaknesses, if you will, and I think you've always got to play to your strengths. So that does come into it a wee bit, but no, it is interesting watching the difference of the players who might sort of push the envelope a bit more versus the guys will be a bit more conservative.
You reckon he's going to take that yellow next to the rail? Well, I thought he was at one point because of the snooker if he didn't drop it.
I wondered if it was one where he could just drop it over the bag, but I think it probably makes sense just to play a couple more first, work his way back.
Because it fits into his play too, doesn't it, to try for the finish and know that he can still get that snooker if he runs into trouble.
Yeah. But it'd be nice to see him just back himself to take out the finish here, because at this point of the tournament, if you're feeling confident and playing well, there's no reason you don't just run these out. They're not going to be scared of playing balls on rails at this point.
Well, generally you don't have to hit them hard anyway, especially when the rest of the balls are close to it. You just have to sort of cue it in.
Yeah, and I did wonder, he still always had the option there,
exactly.
and that's the smart one. And it's very easy for me to sit here and say, I mean, he could have finished that, and if Baden had gone for the finish there, he's going to make it 9 times out of 10. But you play the shot here, and you pretty much guarantee yourself a very, very straightforward chance on the next visit to wrap it up.
Well, it's a 90% chance you'll finish it, but a 99% chance you'll finish it with another shot, isn't it? You're kind of wanting to tilt the odds even more in your favour. If Adam makes this black, then good on him. Tip your hat.
He's got a good piece of it.
Not going to though, but I mean, there's always that tiny chance that he makes the shot, but it's a tiny chance. So, percentage play is everything in this game, as it is in all cue sports really, but this game in particular I find. You see that, what Ryan wrote?
I did. I was just giving myself a pat on the back. Right.
I'll do it for you.
Excellent stuff. No, I was just taking a chance to catch up on the comments on the stream. Great to have a good number of viewers already on their Sunday morning. Hope you guys are all enjoying the coverage and the action. We always appreciate the support. The online community and audience is a huge part of what we're doing, and I was trying to push the envelope with the stream and the commentary and all that. So yeah, cheers guys.
Yeah, it's an amazing amount of work you guys do to make this so good.
Oh, not just us, John, but I've got to give a shout out to you and Paul in here, because there's plenty of people behind the scenes who are not necessarily out there in the room sort of for everyone to see doing the work, but a lot of stuff, a lot of people that put in a lot of hours sort of behind things to make it happen as well, so it's a big team effort.
Well, you guys have got jobs and many of you have families as well as on top of what you do here, so it's a massive commitment. Here's a bit of top or screw. Screws easier, why not?
So yeah, 5-1 lead now for Baden, and moving himself into a very strong position. I mean, the beauty still is of these long races is that momentum can turn, and as much as Baden can win 4 or 5 frames on the bounce, I mean, we've all seen Adam win 4 or 5 frames very quickly as well. I mean,
last year.
Yeah, well, and you only have to throw your mind back a little bit further to the that match he had in the Great Southern Knockout with Des Wilcox. I mean, what was he?
14-5 down, I think.
Yeah, something
in a race
like that.
15.
Yeah, and proceeded to win sort of 7-8 frames on the bounce in no time. So momentum can be a huge factor, and it can be as simple as Adam getting a good break and run, and the momentum can turn. So he needs something to happen soon, though, that's for sure.
Well, ideally he needs Baden to dry break here so that he can get back to the table, because Baden's break's been brilliant so far in this match. Hope I'm not putting the mockers on him, but his break's actually been very, very good. You see where the cue ball went? You see where the cue ball travelled? It screwed back, it screwed pretty much down the centre of the table and back, or not far from it. I think this is dry though, you know, just as I noticed.
You made the comment, John?
Yeah, I made the comment. I'm pointing to myself, that was me. I completely broke those balls. Ooh.
Wow, we did not need that.
Oh mate, what are you doing to yourself?
The Reds were looking fantastic, and now they just look not quite so fantastic.
Brave.
I'm trying my best, Jordan. I'm trying my best.
Dean Garnett's managed to pull to within one of Des Wilcox now, 4-3 that game. That's a very good point that Manuel just made, Mike.
Yeah, that's a great comment actually, and I tell you what, the atmosphere in the room this morning probably could not be more polar opposite to the Great Southern Knockout crowd. I'm not saying it's not a good atmosphere in there, but it's a much more quiet, tense atmosphere in there. I think the reality of what these guys are playing for this time around, you know, it's not just a tournament win and kudos or bragging rights for people watching. It's New Zealand team spots on the line, so very tense atmosphere. But Adam, back to the match here, has given himself a great chance to develop these two problem reds. So if he can plant that inside the red, and he's done very well. So tell you what, that's showing some bottle here because he played a poor shot early in the rack to kind of get himself potentially into a little bit of trouble, and now he's just given himself a chance to rescue it. But a little bit of work to do still here. I think he'll be looking to run this cue ball 2 rails, try and come out between those yellows back towards the centre of the table. So can he pick the line? He can.
Good. That's been the problem late in the frame for him, hasn't it? Picking the line. He's only thing he's really done wrong, to be honest, and he's 5-1 down.
I'm not sure. So that red that's in the centre of the bottom rail, it probably doesn't pass that yellow, so it looks like he's going to have to try and cross the white over the table.
Goes now.
Didn't quite get it right, but he's given himself a look at it, so I'm not sure if he was trying to get under that all the way past it or just kick it like he did, but looks like now all he needs to do is just get a nice well-timed strike to the corner with a high cue tip, and just doesn't need to get that cue ball all the way up straight on the black, just anywhere running towards the middle pocket will do.
Remember what you did last night? Oh,
tell you what, I'd looked away from the red. I thought it was in off the bat. I was watching the cue ball. I can't believe he's missed that.
Well, you reckon snooker city here?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, again, it seems to be the pattern in these type of rule sets that if you pot out all your balls and don't finish, you tend to give your opponent basically puts them into a position of strength because they've got the options to cover in the snooker. The only thing in Adam's favour a little bit was the fact that he does have a pocket covered where Baden does have a few yellows, but again, Baden only needs one free shot and he can take care of that. So not a great position to be in for Adam now.
Yeah, it puts so much onus on the players to finish, doesn't it? Is that Des who snookered himself on the black?
I think Adam will look to swerve here. I think that's the best percentage shot.
Watch this from Des as well.
Des had a cracker right. Yeah, I do think the swerve's the shot here from Adam. I've seen he's actually very good at these. I've seen him make quite a few important matches. So just the distance here makes this a wee bit trickier because you've just got to hit it a lot harder to stop the spin grabbing and biting it too soon. So he needs to get that white to travel a reasonable distance before the spin grabs and pulls it in. And also he really wants to catch that red quite full so that the cue ball holds in that corner. So what's going on? What's he got?
Went too early, didn't it?
And that was
got into it too much.
You've either got to get a little bit flatter, but the problem is if you get a little bit flatter, you don't get as much spin. So to compensate, you've got to hit it harder so that it slides a bit further before the spin grabs. But he's running the risk of losing the cue ball, so it was a very tough shot, and he's just got a fraction off.
Do you then play a fraction of a cue tip more towards the centre of the ball and punch it hard so that it does have that little punch to it, so it swerves, but it swerves later.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways, and the other option probably would have been just to aim a little bit wider to start, and just effectively, give it a little bit more leeway so that it can spin a bit earlier. But
that's an interesting shot. Put the black safe. Just wondering what Baden's up to there.
I think perhaps just to buy himself a bit of time.
Yeah.
I think he knew that he still had a bit of work to do with that red potentially covering those 3 yellows. So I guess tidying up the black does give him an additional way of security, and he does have time still to develop it. So I suspect he probably won't be looking to try and finish on this visit. He will just still be looking to try and, I guess, develop or improve his situation while keeping Adam tight.
Is he looking for a snooker here? Just wondered whether he might have been for path of the cue ball, perhaps. I reckon Dean might have left that on top right there for Des. He's trying to snooker him behind the red near the rail. Yeah, he has gone for a snooker. I reckon he might have mucked this up, I think Adam, if he can see just enough of it, perhaps.
It's going to be tight, isn't it? So what's Des got on the black here?
Cut into the middle, I reckon. Yep.
No troubles.
5-3 Des Wilcox. Birthday boy.
So I'll tell you what, all the matches are moving at a cracking pace this morning. I just put my organiser's hat on for a second. It's always a bit of a juggling act with the scheduling of the matches and how quick or long they're going to run, but looks like the boys are ticking along all right.
Got a good piece of the red there, did Adam, so keeps himself in the frame. That's one thing that Steve Denton did brilliantly against Simon Singleton yesterday. That match, if you saw it, or you saw any of it, there was so much snooker and counter snooker and so on going in that game, and I was just talking to Simon yesterday, and the reason why that game ran so long is because anytime he tried to tie Steve up, he was just able to get out of the snooker every time. It puts a little bit of pressure back on you, and the player you snooker keeps getting out of it because you're not getting your shots, your free shot out of it that you want.
It's just patience though, because at the end of the day, I mean, if your opponent's still only got that one ball and you've got many on the table, you just got to keep having a few pings at it, because then chances are it's gonna swing your way eventually. So
good kick. Possibly the cue ball could have been better.
He doesn't have a great shot next now, so it's become quite a tricky rack for Baden as well. Just the fact that the black is where it is. I mean, he's got a couple of yellows in there to kind of get position or develop it at the end of his run out if he wants, but it's not as straightforward to play a snooker here, and he doesn't have a straightforward pot to continue moving either. So
you reckon he's going to take the one on the right hand side of the table for a snooker?
Yeah.
Go one or two rails and behind
if he lands up
yellows
by the corner at the top left of the screen as we look, he should be good. Geez, he'd be unlucky to leave a gap through there.
Might be able to see just the edge of it.
Wonder if we might see another swerve. This would only be a small one, so he doesn't need to try and jack up to quite the same extent.
Also, we want the swerve to happen late too. You want to just miss the black and the yellow and then have it slowly swerve into the red.
Yeah, and so I think it's just unlike the last shot, because he doesn't need as much swerve this time. This is where you don't put the Q-tip quite as far over, but I wonder if he might just look to just make sure he contacts that red and try and keep the white tight down there.
Hasn't hit it at all. In fact, that seemed to fade away from the ball.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened on that one. I did wonder if he was thinking he was probably going to catch it thin and try and park the white on the back of that yellow down there or something like that, but it hasn't come off, and I think this is the opportunity Baden was looking for. He's got a great chance here to either develop the black, move the red, so see which way he goes.
He's going to play the
with
black
it.
now, I think. He's going to play it into the red. Oh shit, geez, that's a result and a half, isn't it? don't think he was quite happy with it, but I tell you what, he's made something of it.
I'm not sure I can actually understand what he was trying to do there.
He was trying to hit the back of the red and kick the red away and leave the black somewhere near where the red is.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like the best. I wonder if it almost to me seemed like he was trying to get sort of a little bit too cute or too clever with that. I mean, the yellows are in a pretty good position. I would have thought from there you could have just clipped the black out into the centre of the table and backed yourself to finish those 4 yellows from there, but
he almost got in his own head, I reckon, there. There's Desi working his way onto the black now. This will be for a 6-3 lead.
I think there can be that temptation sometimes with the free shot, and especially when the guys aren't used to playing with it, that they kind of feel like they have to do something with it. Whereas, even though you've got the free shot, a lot of the time you don't need to go looking for anything super clever or creative to do with it. If there's a ball on a cushion, you bump it out and you run out.
Adam absolutely must contact this red. He can see the edge of it. You look at where the yellows are, especially the 2 in bulk. If he can get a good contact on this red, then he puts the pressure back on Baden for mine. Oh, he's done it again. I can understand what he was trying to do, but you had to prioritise the hit on the red over everything else. He's given Baden another free shot here. You wouldn't expect Baden to make the same mistake twice. Oh, what are you doing? Come on, don't play with us like that. Was it last year he did that, or the year before, where he took it like a combo?
Yeah. Wonder if he forgot for half a second, or if he's just playing.
He's like, no, don't do that again. I tell you what, if he probably had Tara's voice in his head there. Baden, don't do that.
I think here we don't need to see too much from this one. Don't need to do anything special with that free shot. The balls are there to finish. Start down the bottom end of the table, get those 2 done, work your way back to the black.
Stevie Denton back to within a frame against Adam Shaw. 5-4 now that match.
It's been the tightest match out there from the start, even when I was in the room before I jumped in the commentary. That match has been relatively fine the whole way through. I think he was definitely keen to get down to this yellow next. He did not want to be leaving this yellow till last before the black, but he did not want to be on the rails. So boys making hard work of this frame actually.
I respectfully disagree with you there, Brad. Time and place for it, yes, but they've got a lot of respect for each other because they know they're capable of finishing on each other, and Simon kind of had to go to his B game there to beat Steve because of the respect.
I mean, it's at the same time, I personally agree that it is a bit of a fair point. I mean, from a spectator view and from trying to grow the game sort of view, we do want to see, people like to watch quick games. They like to see clearances. They like to see shots played. I think they both just got quite caught up in that match. They both sort of started getting a bit technical early on. They both kind of got, because sometimes when a match goes that way, you kind of have to switch it up, and rather than just sort of flying and potting, you've got to start grinding a wee bit. And I think they both just got completely caught up and wrapped up in that, and neither was really prepared to try and play their way anyway out of that. So hey, it is the way Paul goes sometimes, but it's I've been quietly surprised this morning to see the pace of players picked up, and the guys are taking their chances, and hopefully they know at this sort of level ultimately to win big tournaments.
What's happened here? Did he foul? He must have flipped that on. He flipped it, or he flipped it black or something. Yeah, he must have touched the black with his bridge. And so you see Baden, or just watching the replay, Baden tapped the table as if to say, good sportsmanship. And Adam will be filthy with himself, but definitely did the right thing calling that. For just to expand on that point that Mike and Brad were making, it was only really one player, to be honest. It was only Simon doing it. Steve was kind of sucked into it because of the way Simon was playing. That more defensive sort of game. I think that kind of forced Steve to do it as well. And Steve couldn't really get free of it, so he was having to put his thinking cap on too. And it made for a longer game, but I actually think it was good for the tournament to have a game like that, because you can't have everything potting. You have to be able to showcase all facets of the game.
No, I don't think anyone's arguing that. I think there's a simple point that it's nice to see some quick games moving along this morning. So like we see off the back of that last frame, some good sportsmanship from Adam. He'll be spewing because he could not afford to drop that frame there. But it's an interesting frame. After a pretty good start to the match, both players just got a little bit lost in that one. So Adam needs to make something happen here to get himself back into it, because while he did lose that last frame, Adam, Baden was just looking a little bit scratchy towards the back end of it as well. So if Adam can sort of regather his composure and maybe try and take advantage of that, he might have a chance to get himself back into the match.
You're always a good big advocate for the clock, aren't you, Brad? For good reason, mind. Because
100%. I mean, look, we wanted to be timing. We would love to time every match, and it's just a logistical challenge, because basically, to time matches, you need, you can't just time what some matches and not the others. You have to time everything, and to time everything, that means we need someone sitting with a stopwatch on every match, every tournament. Even if we've got 8 tables, that's 8 people sitting, watching pool, pushing buttons all day. It's a tricky one. So definitely something we're looking at going forward, is to try and introduce the shot clock more where we can. Just got to see how it goes, really.
Incentivise it. Oh, he's trying to get on the yellow to the left there, and he's stuck himself behind the red. He's railroaded himself onto the one on the right. That's why he looks so disgusted with himself. He's got a shot on the one on the right, and it's not a bad one, but that's not what he wanted, because the ball on the right offers the best shot at the black, and now he's going to have to take it and reroute.
Yeah, there's not any great natural lines to get from this one. I wonder if he'll try and just go into the side rail and slide the white sort of straight sideways back between the yellow and the red.
Get up!
In the zone. The angle works.
That's okay.
That's good. He just needs to. He can pretty much just float this one in and play a high cue ball, run across, as long as he gets the cue ball back over to anywhere where it is now. Or
trace of left,
further.
maybe.
I don't think you want to jeopardise the pot. Yeah, and that's it. He didn't have to do too much. Just make sure.
Do you want to move the shark? Sorry, you want to move the shark rack?
Want to move the shark rack? Yeah.
Get someone to move it. Yeah, thanks, Baden. Did he move that black?
He just lifted it off the...
I thought he moved it. I was saying if he moves that to the right, he makes it easier.
No, it's been really good just to see the players very happy to just, agree amongst themselves to move templates and stuff. We don't always need to get referees involved for bits and pieces like that. It's nice to see the respect amongst the players that they...
Yeah, boy, shot at him.
So big frame for Adam. Really needed that one to get himself back into the match. And like I say, while he did end up blowing the last frame with the cue foul, and he does have a big deficit, I think we did see some signs of weakness from Baden in that last frame. So I sense an opportunity for Adam to try and swing the momentum here, and if he can get a couple of frames quickly on the bounce here, I think he's right back in this match.
Yeah, so 6-2 is not insurmountable, is it? And that was a character building finish. Just on Des Wilcox's game, he's now on the hill, 7-3 against Dean Garnett. Loving the way that Des is playing too. He's taking everything in his stride, because Dean can be a very difficult player to play against, especially if he gets his claws in.
Yeah, but you know what Des has been doing all weekend is running racks. And in my opinion, it's the best way to play this game. Don't get me wrong, the tactics and come into it, and there's times we've got to grind and play the pressure game and use your head. But at the end of the day, if you can break the balls wide open, get a few down and clean them up in one visit, and you can do it consistently, doesn't matter who you're playing against, you're going to put a lot of pressure on them, and you're going to find yourself leading. And Des has done that consistently all weekend. So if he keeps playing that way, it's going to be a very hard man to stop. And yeah, we've seen him several times putting many frames together very quickly. So great stuff to see.
best defence is a good offence, isn't it? If other player can't get to the table, they can't win. It's as simple as that, really. And if he can get to the table, then make it as hard as possible for them. Make them earn it. Bang! Look at this. Put the black safe, yeah, but he's got a few balls at it. This one here.
Yeah, the fact he's got yellows there to develop that makes that not so bad, but at the same time he'll want to open that back up as early as possible. I suspect he'll be tempted to play the yellow next to the red now, just a little trace of bottom left, and just try and develop that black and yellow early. Just going to take this one first.
Better angle, I reckon. Yeah, I think this is a better angle. He might even be able to go right in behind and kick behind them.
So I think that was what he could have played on the previous one, but I think he would have been worried about the white getting trapped in behind. I think now he could actually probably screw off this into the left side of the black as we look at it. Is he? No, is he still going to kick out? Wow.
Missed it.
Not a great shot. Not a great shot.
You reckon he'll try and cut this?
The split's still there, but the problem is now he's got, once he makes the split, he's got less balls to play afterwards, and that's all. When you're having to contact a couple of balls and open them up, you want as many balls left on the table, so you've got just more options to land on to run out from there. So I'll be curious to see. I was wondering if he can take the fine cut to the middle now and play it slow to let the white knock into the black, but I don't think that shot's quite there.
It's on, but it's risky, isn't it? It's more risk than you want when you're 6-2 down.
I genuinely think the white might have travelled a bit wide.
Woo, the cue ball for Des. No, that's okay. This is for a win, by the way. Gets these two, he wins through to the semi.
So, critical shot for Adam here.
Still again.
Missed it twice.
Oh dear.
Unfortunately, he's just, throughout this match, Adam's just been a fraction off at critical moments with the cue ball. He's cueing well, hitting the ball well, but just when it's come to some of the crunch positional shots, he's just been a fraction off.
Well done, the birthday boy, Des Wilcox, beating Dean Garnett 8-3 to get to the semi-final.
Yeah, great win for Des there. I suspect he would have been favourite for that match, but I tell you what, when you come in first match of the morning cold, it's anyone's game, but he's stamped his authority on it pretty quickly. So good win for Des. He sees himself as the first player into the semi-finals, and I think the really good thing about having a comfortable one-sided-ish win is that you don't expend as much energy as well.
And you get to relax too.
Yeah, well that's it. Just the fact if you can conserve a bit of energy, and it just means you go into that semi-final feeling good because you've had a big win, so you're feeling confident and you're just feeling a bit fresher. So good stuff for Des.
So Simon Singleton's just gone final as well. So he's beaten Healy White 8-2. So he will he's not playing Des Wilcox. In fact, those guys on opposite sides of the draw, so to speak. So Des will play the winner of the game between Adam Shaw and Steve Denton. So far, Adam Shaw leads 5-4, and Simon Singleton will play the winner of this game. So they both get to put their feet up and watch the carnage. I don't think Baden will be happy with that. He's not really promoted anything there. I suggest he was trying to go for the snooker behind the red that's on the top rail there, but he's kind of mucked it up, and this could be a wee chance for Adam. It's not an easy shot, but he's got to go out at 100%, so he's got no choice really.
It's going to be very difficult to develop the other yellow from here, though. I mean, it's not the most natural angle to head back down onto it. This white's going to want to go a wee bit wider, as you can see there. So he's setting himself up for the double. I'm not sure if he can play off the rail sort of towards the corner, bottom left as we look at it. That would be fantastic if he can sneak it past the black. We just can't quite see from this angle if he's got enough. But
the angle top right, maybe. I reckon if those are not touching, this double's on. Come on, get there.
Just desailed a wee bit. So spray that wee bit wide in the end. Obviously when you play that shot slow, the angle opens up a lot wider. So Adam probably knew that he had to play that double quite slow to get the yellow to open up as wide as possible. And he's actually overdone it slightly, which from where I was sitting, I didn't think he could do that and miss it on that side from there. So...
oh dear, get out of there.
oh, jeez. Sweating on that one. So
He'll wipe his head.
turned out to be not a bad leave, although to be fair, Adam looks like he's got the edge of the yellow he can play it, and while it's going to be horrific queuing from deep in that jaw, I think he can just hit it, John. He can just
You
play,
reckon?
he can play the fine edge of that. I think, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he could go off the side rail as well. It'll just, often I think in these it just depends what the queuing and the bridge hand's like.
Yeah, that's so awkward from in there, isn't it?
Because I know if you've got to play an extreme fine edge of the ball, because I do believe he could hit that yellow fine and probably not pot it but cover the bag, but if the bridge hand and the queuing's dicey, that's not when you want to be playing those ultra fine cuts.
Too much width.
Too much spin. He almost didn't even need that side. I think he could have just played that plain ball and just used that, again, that slightly slower pace to help that cue ball open up, but tough shot to judge.
Didn't want to hit the curvature of the middle pocket jaw, did he? You see he was aiming well away from it, but he put too much spin on it, as you said, to counter. Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do, Lee, but he just put a bit too much side on it. That's not fantastic. Too cute again, you reckon, from Baden?
Well, he's just lost his way a little bit in these last couple of frames, you know. Early on in the match things were there for him, he was able to get on the table and clean up quite quickly, and sometimes, you know, when things are all coming easy for you and then you suddenly get a couple of frames where things are a little bit trickier and not happening, it can throw you off your stride a wee bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how Baden responds. I think he kind of had a similar battle with Dan Bowen last night, where he started quite well and then things started to get a wee bit scratchy for him towards the end, and I think he just sort of fell over the line a wee bit in the end. So the good thing he's got the 4 frame buffer here though, so I think he can be pretty relaxed.
Played that brilliantly. The only problem is, of course, now maybe those two don't plant onto the other one, or if they do, then the red in the middle is going to spray slightly, but he's controlled that shot very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but he's absolutely got the upper hand in this frame here with the balls where they are. So Adam's going to need something pretty special to get himself out of this one, because it's, you know, there's not really anywhere where you can leave it safe. It's going to, yeah.
Needs to put this into space, I reckon. Make it harder for Baden to snooker him. Force Baden to try and finish.
Do you think he'll try and double back to underneath himself? Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a chance.
Oh, it doesn't
White ball. Nah. Yeah.
Well, it probably sews up this one. I'm thinking if I'm Baden, I mean, there's a couple of different ways you could go. You could take the yellow first, just so you know you're only controlling Adam on the black. Then you could look at this red that's on the bottom rail and think, I'm just going to clip that one out first, so that one's slightly easier. Or you could just flag all that and just run them out. You know, again, sometimes I think the free shot makes people think, okay, I've got to do something smart or clever with it, and if you're going searching for shots you don't need to play, that's when you can get into trouble. So maybe there's a lot to be said here for just podding that red in the middle and cleaning them up.
I do like the idea of just bumping that red out that's on the head rail.
I think that would be my
that's
shot.
That's the shot for me.
What's he gonna?
Oh, he's making the black easier, okay. And whilst he's at it, giving himself a shot on that trouble red, possibly.
Yeah, I guess, and perhaps the logic there, but yeah, if the black where it was, you know, there was the risk with the yellow being near it that he could have gotten into trouble if things come awry. So it's an insurance policy, and I know definitely doing my homework, learning this game, watching a lot of the Pro Series and the Ultimate Pool Series and stuff, and it is a common trait, amongst some of the top players, just to use that free shot to just improve something slightly or burn an opponent's ball, just increasing those percentages.
You reckon he takes the plant on here? He's shying away from it. He'll want this on or near the rail, I reckon, the cue baller talking about.
Yeah, so I think good thing here. Looks like he's got a pretty natural angle now to run back up for the red to the middle.
Also, Lee just posting before about Tara Jackson, who is Baden's wife. 21 years married, by the way, I believe. Earlier in the week.
Where's that cue ball going? Jesus, lost that one. Wow, so overrun that by quite some distance. Came back much closer to the red than he would have wanted as well. So not his best work, but to be fair, all he needs really is one confident pot into the top corner, bottom right of the screen as we look at it. No, he's still going to stick with the original plan. I hope he doesn't hit that same line again.
That is to woo as well.
No, he's judged the pace better this time.
Fool me once, shame on you. Shame on me, fool me twice.
Just floated in. Wow.
Big bounce.
Oh, bigger bounce. That looked short to me at first. That had me nervous.
I bet you that had him nervous as well. The one shot. Yeah, just kind of floated it in.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that was a confident or authoritative finish from Baden, but at the end of the day, the frame's on the board. It's a 7-2 lead, and he's on the hill. Everything to do for Adam Lilly.
Yeah, also I was going through it before, but shout out to Baden and Tara Jackson, 21 years married, I believe, earlier this week, so congratulations. Tara will be, well, she's actually playing at the moment, so says Lee Hildred, but when she finishes playing, I'm pretty sure she'll be tuning in to watch this. And especially so with Baden on the hill, she'll be absolutely living for it. And Tara, by the way, is a pretty well accomplished player too. Bit of snooker, bit of pool.
So we've got some score updates from the other matches there, John.
We do indeed. The only other game going at the moment is Adam Shaw versus Steve Denton. Still reading 5-4 to Adam Shaw, so I'm picking that a real safety orientated frame that they're playing. The score's been 5-4 for some time.
It's not uncommon to sort of see the matches sort of slow down and pace towards the end. It's sometimes in a long race you sort of you're a lot more relaxed and comfortable at the start, because even if you drop a frame or two, you've got time on your side. But basically Adam and Steve, they're playing a race to 3 at this point, so it's starting to get tense out there.
Yeah, players start to feel it at this stage too, don't they? They know that everything's starting to constrict, so to speak.
And like we touched on before, the difference in a quarter and a semi in terms of ranking points in New Zealand team selection is huge at this point. Steve, who wasn't able to make the South Islands because he was overseas, he pretty much needs to find himself in the final to have a crack. So he's going to be highly motivated. Adam Shaw with the semi-final place at the South Islands, I think he'll be thinking he needs to get himself to a semi again to get himself in the mix. So so much more riding on these matches than just a tournament win and a bit of prize money.
Adam Lilly as well, he got to the final of the South Islands, and you wonder if a quarter-final finish in this tournament, if he goes on to lose this game, if a quarter-final finish in this tournament will be enough to keep him in contention.
Yeah, and it swings on other results as well, depending on who's near you on the ranking list and how they finish. So there's a lot of different permutations for sure, but nonetheless, Baden back at the table, and a great opportunity here to take the match out, I reckon.
Shark Rack's just being moved here because he's playing across it. He's going to play that one of those 2 yellows into the centre pocket, so getting Adam to move the Shark Rack. So again, the players doing a brilliant job of policing the game themselves. That's one of the many things I love about black ball. Obviously the rules and everything else, but the game largely polices polices itself.
Yeah, well, to be honest, to me it says more about what a good bunch of players and community we've got than the rules themselves, because it just shows the level of respect between these guys, in a lot of competition, in a lot of different sports. I'm sure people would be very reluctant to let their opposition, do things like that, and then, on the off chance they might, be trying to tamper or pull something weird, but while these guys are all trying to beat each other, actually the majority of them are really good mates off the table, all get on well and play a lot together, and so it's, I enjoy seeing, they're out there competing, trying to beat each other, but there's a lot of respect too, which is pretty cool.
But then they'll have a beer with each other off the table, so to speak. It's just also, dare I say it, because more games are being streamed as well, then that if you've got a reputation for not being a good sport, people will pick up on that.
Now that's it. Any funny business gets picked up instantly, and everyone's watching. So it keeps everyone honest as well, which is not a bad thing. But just trying to map out the sequence here for Baden. I think he'll be looking to. I wonder if he was going to come back and play that yellow in the centre of the table next, and look to finish with these two down here closest to the black last.
Well, that certainly would have made it an easier run out, wouldn't it? Because he's going to have to.
He doesn't have the angle for it now, though.
That yellow between the black spot and the centre of the red between the black spot and the centre of the table becomes massive, because that could very easily get in his way multiple times.
It's all about that yellow closest to the black spot, because that's only really going to pass into the middle pocket, and he needs to be straight on this yellow down here to be able to give himself that shot. So he could possibly just float this one in real slow now, hold for it, and then he'll be playing up. But I'll tell you what, I'm not, the last, he needs to get a really good angle on this last yellow to make sure he can get himself back onto the black. So while this shot here, it's not the toughest pot in the world, distance control and position on this next yellow is everything. So massive shot here.
You pretty much want this ball to just fall into the pocket.
Yeah.
That's okay as well. If he can get the angle for the cue ball to go back towards that trouble red I was talking about, but just miss it. Just miss it, he'll end up bang on the black. Can he do it though? Or is he going to run into that red? He's even thinking about going the other side of it.
I think what he's the zone he's just put his hand is absolutely a much higher percentage way, because the good thing about this shot is you're going to guarantee yourself a look. You can't get it horribly wrong. So he's hit that a bit hard, but he's still got a shot at the black. He comes up short, he's still got a shot at the black. The other option we were discussing, if he got his Bosnie wrong, he was snookered. So good percentage play from Baden, and a chance to win it. Is it going to get there?
It's too soft. The net got it.
Yeah, the net got it. Wow. And that sucks, because I know that if he was down that shot, I guarantee off the bat that was in the heart of the pocket, and I bet that slow pace is just shaped into that nail rail, and he'll be kicking himself. I mean, he's still in a great position, but
you rushed it.
You want to take your chances to seal it. You don't want to drag things out any longer than you have to, because every other chance you give Adam back at the table is another chance for him to get himself back into the match, and I'm sure he'll be starting to throw caution to the wind at this point.
He rushed that. That's one of the worst examples, or best depending on who you are, examples of a player rushing the ball to win a match. Had he taken an extra couple of seconds, he would have got that. He just basically wanted to just put it in and be over with, but you just need to take a few extras, and that again is what Neil was telling Adam last night when he was doing his drills with Adam. Adam was getting too quick on shots, and Neil pulled him back and said, just have a look at it, chalk your cue, take an extra few seconds, and then get down and pot it.
Curious to see which way Adam's going about this. I was wondering whether he's going to take the red above the black spot first to the bottom left corner, if he was going to take this one here. I think this is the better shot. The shot he was just queuing up at before, just run a slight risk of the cue ball getting away on him if he caught it a bit thin. So, yeah.
Shot. Beautiful shot.
Shot there.
Now do you just float this one in nearest the pocket and just end up for the one next to it?
Yeah, you just want to play a little bit of low, bottom right, come out and just want to finish low on this next red so that you can pop out to high on the next red. So perfect angle. You can just he can screw it straight sideways up a little bit. He can run it through, whatever he likes. I suspect he'll just play a little sort of stabby screw, just float it about a foot sideways up, and you'll be just higher straight on the next red. Same diff.
Yeah, this amazingly is pretty much exactly the same as what he was practicing last night, so he'll be having that in his head. It's like, just as I practiced, just keep putting them in, give yourself the angle, put them in, screw back, give yourself a nice shot on the black, which he has done, and this to extend the match. Yes indeed, so 3-7 now.
So Adam, he's not done for yet. He's hanging in there, and I'm still maintaining that. Yeah, Baden just looked a little bit edgy in the back end of this match, and sometimes I think we've all been in that situation. You can go flying out to a lead in a match, playing really well, and everything's coming easy, and then the hardest thing is just getting over the line at the end. So still prime position, 5-frame lead. If you told him he's going to be 7-2 up on Adam, he'd taken that every day. So he'll be very confident that he can win 1 frame out of the next 5.
We're just waiting for the score to be updated. It's 7-3 at the moment, but same diff. Would have said yeah, but I'll take that. Great break, but poor cue ball. That table was looking fantastic for half a second, but with where the cue balls landed up, I guess he does still have the gap to shoot the red to the top left corner as we look at it. So I suspect that will probably be the option here. That's his only option for mine. He's not got a plant anywhere else. It's more just a case of whether you want the reds or not's the question though, John. So that would be the only thing. There's no point taking that pot if he deems that the yellows would be a better set, but I suspect the reds will be the go here. There's a little bit of work to do on them with the black, and that's actually worked out good. That does buy him a bit of time. Just gives him a bit more security in this frame with that yellow hard on the back of the red now. Adam would have had the possibility with the yellows to perhaps play one inside that red previously, but he's taken away that shot now, hasn't he? Yeah. But now he's forcing Adam to play the yellow next to it, so play away from it and open the red up. So that's almost rubbing his nose in it, that, isn't it? A wee bit, yeah. And I don't know if that was 100% necessary there. I mean, that's John just circled on the screen. We've got the 2 reds near the black are the issue on the reds here. So they're the ones that need a bit of thought. The problem with that shot I see that Adams played, I can see what he was trying to do, but he's actually given Baden a chance to promote one of those reds now. Yeah, I think if he can see enough of this edge, I'll be playing this red at the middle pocket. Yeah, open it up. But to be fair, the Pacers played that. Control the cue ball, leave the red on. Just playing the percentages. And that's it. Baden's got that, that wee bit more experience in these, similar rule sets, and just using that experience here well. That was a massive ball. That was an awesome pot as well. I wonder if he'll try to set himself up for a skill shot somewhere. I know it's going to be incredibly difficult, but you just wonder if that percentage might be on maybe somewhere. He's going to need something. That needed to go further. Yeah, a bit of luck with that angle. He would have had himself an option, but unfortunately that yellow's just pulled up a wee bit short. He's the wrong side of straight to sort of be able to send the cue ball up the table, so not quite sure what he's going to look to do here. I'll be reluctant to take this yellow into the middle at this point as well, because the second he drops that, all he's got is 3 yellows all up in that top corner of the table. But I wonder if he might look to face double and screw the white into the skill shot. That would be a hell of a shot. Well, you're 7-3 down, and look at the way the frame is. I don't think you're going to win this without taking a big risk somewhere. I don't think so as well. I think he's got to. I think he's got to look for something like that. I mean,
I thought he might have been looking at that shot I called for half a second. I don't know how on that is, but she looks like he might be. So is he going for the face double?
Here we go, here we go.
Screw the cue ball into that corner.
Ooh,
He's had a decent effort. It was a tough shot. And you know, hats off, he's given it a crack. I'm not sure there was much more he could have done there from that situation, and it's definitely not a straightforward finish for Baden anyway. So still plenty of work for Baden to do here to get this one over the line. That yellow is still covering that red for Baden too, so
got to be careful of where this goes. He's played that very well for mine, because that first red he played could have easily drifted towards the rail, but because he played it as a punch, he's managed to sort of throw that second red in rather than float it in.
Yeah, I was wondering which way he was going to go about these ones down here.
That was a fair shot, right?
Yep, he's just gone rail first. The only thing I was wondering on that shot was it was hard to control the cue ball, and you know, is he going to be able to guarantee himself a good pot next? Because ideally it would have been nice. I wondered if he might have taken that red that he's hard on now. I wonder if he might have taken that first to develop the other one, but
no, he's going 100% at this. He's full sending this.
Yeah, and the cue ball now is just going to be getting back down to that red that's right next to the cue ball. I'm wondering if he's going to try and travel the white all the way up and down now and give himself a look, or whether he's going to work his way back to that. Would be great to get on it now, but it's a very risky shot. And the problem is, if he doesn't get it right and doesn't leave that ball on down there, then his next two options become quite long. So wonder if he might go more conservative and try and play it a little bit softer for one of these two reds near the black first.
That needs to go. That needs to giddy up.
So that was pretty much exactly what I was a little bit worried about. So he comes short. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still got shots here, but now they're a wee bit longer, and it's getting a wee bit tougher to get back down there for that last red. So don't get me wrong, he's still got the time to do it. He's definitely still got the balls to do it, but each time he doesn't quite get on it, the finish becomes tougher and tougher.
He's looking at that right ball of the two. I reckon he's going to go side rail and back across towards the bulk line here. I
think what he's actually looking at, John, which is just guaranteeing himself a shot, is landing in the centre of the table.
Oh yeah, where he just put his hand.
And it was a similar option he took before, where we kind of thought, you know, okay, yeah, you could try and run over and get a little bit straighter, but there's a lot to be said for just guaranteeing yourself a shot sometimes, because I almost missed that. I was going to say
that's a big chance for Adam now. Look at this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marco, you were in the middle of something.
Yeah, you just cut me down. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. That's right. I'll just sit here and wait till you're full flow on something and just jump all over it.
By the way, do you remember that time when? Damn it, Mike.
That's all right though. You're not wrong. Great chance for Adam. And I'll tell you what, if he can take this one out here, 7-4's suddenly feeling a lot better than 7-2. So momentum's starting to turn, and again, Baden just struggling to close it out at the moment.
You reckon this is naturally screwing towards the rail, the left-hand yellow?
Yeah, you either screw this straight back, or you've got to really slap it with stun to come back out.
That's pretty good, because this is a fairly natural sort of angle, this.
Yeah, you just screw this one slightly just to kill a bit of the pace out of the cue ball, and you're just trying to play one rail back out to the centre of the table. He could go two rails if he thinks it's going to run a wee bit finer and he's worried about the white sitting a wee bit tight to the left rail. Then maybe you just commit to two rails twice across the table to guarantee you back out. But I think screwing off one rail centre of the table is the shot.
Don't overcomplicate it. One.
Well, and so that was what I said the risk was, is if you thought you were going to run close to that, you've got to commit and make sure you get a good bounce off that second rail. I personally would have, it might have been that he actually just desailed on the screw and didn't get into it as much, so didn't kill it as much, but...
One shot to rule them all, Mike. Yeah, well played. Well hurt.
Who needs posse when you can cue them like that? I'm sure Adam still would have rather had better posse than have to play that shot.
Did rightly, and it applies to many walks of life as well.
But yes, that was the point I was touching on with Baden at the table before John horrifically interrupted me, was that there is a lot to be said for just guaranteeing yourself a look at the ball, because these guys are good enough that even if it's a quarter ball cut, you know, they pop those balls for fun. So, you know, rather than forcing it to try and get straight and maybe risking a snooker, guarantee yourself that look, because these guys are going to pop them 90% of the time.
One thing you've got to know about me, Mike, I've got no soul. I feel nothing. So I know what you were trying to do.
We'll get you, John. We'll get you.
The sad part is you probably will.
So we're looking at 6-5 to Adam Shaw over Steve Denton now. Obviously we don't have camera coverage on that one, but those guys just creeping along super tense towards the finish line as well. So still anybody's game over there. Adam needs 2 frames to take it out. Steve needs 3. So pressure all on, and like we explained before, you know, the result of that match, big implications, goes a long way to getting either of those boys in the team if they can get through this one.
Well, you say they're creeping along, but 11 frames played versus 11 here, and Adam and Steve are on your 12th. It's just the fact that the game sort of started fast and then it's kind of slowed down.
And
this game here as well, we had Baden race to a 7-2 lead, but then due to mistakes he's made and Adam coming back into it, it's now 7-4.
Oh, 100%, and it's definitely what I was referencing. You know, quick starts in both matches, but once you start getting towards the finish line, the pressure ramps up, and things just have a tendency to slow down a wee bit once the gravity of the match becomes more real.
Awatea Davey, fellow Cobra, OED on your screen.
There's probably about 60 or 70 people in the room. So.
60, 70 in the room. That's incredibly good for that size room, Mike.
It's not bad. You know, I'd still be in bed ideally this time on a Sunday morning. So yeah, I know
really?
It's not that early. Yeah, Sundays is for sleeping.
You work night shift.
Nope. Just like sleeping. No, good to see the bodies piling in. You know, obviously when we come in for these tournaments early on Saturday and Sundays, you know, we don't always expect to see a heap of people in the first thing, you know. But great to see people down to support. And I mean, hey, we've got 8 of the best players in the country playing knockout pool for good money and international spots on the line. So this is as good as it gets, really, if you're wanting to watch some good pool.
I like that, Lee. I like the fact that people are using that on me as well. They see me and automatically John Farnham comes out. If I were to pick a song to walk onto for anything though, it wouldn't be The Voice by John Farnham. I don't mind the song, but I know there's several others I'd rather listen to.
I don't think you'd have a choice though, John. I would.
It's my song.
Yeah, but I think we'd just play John Farnham. You're The Voice anyway.
I've actually been putting way too much thought into what walk-on music I'd have. I'm not good enough, mine, to have walk-on music.
I've got a whole playlist worth of songs I'd love to walk out to, John.
Yeah, well, most of mine are not fit for many ears anyway. Black metal, death metal, I don't think many people would like them.
It would set the intensity for the match though, wouldn't it?
Sorry on behalf of John. Are you talking about John Gower, Dev? I was looking at that comment that John Gower made. Nicely paced tables. He actually said the tables he reckoned were playing slow yesterday. I actually didn't agree with that. I thought the tables were playing at a reasonable sort of pace. I know some players, especially on this streaming table, were perhaps overkilling them and the ball was running further than they thought. Maybe it slowed down towards the end of the day, but at this time they've been freshly brushed. It's fairly early, so you'd expect them to be a touch quicker. Would that be a fair point?
To be fair, I mean, from what I've seen, I feel like the tables have been playing pretty well. Most of the feedback I've heard from the players has been pretty positive. The tables are playing nice. With the temperature in the room, nice new club, it's pretty well controlled. It's a very consistent temperature. So I haven't noticed anything drastic, but hey, sometimes it's just a certain table. Maybe it was, maybe it just needed a brush at the time. Who knows? But no, I think overall we're very lucky that we have very nice tables and facilities to play on. If you look at a lot of amateur events around different places around the world, the playing conditions are probably not of the standard that we get to play on pretty consistently. So not a lot to pick at there, really, in my opinion.
Well, we've got the best setup possible, don't we? This is in its own room, first of all, so you're not getting interference from others. You've got, as you said, temperature control for the tables so that they play as consistently as possible throughout the day. If he can get on this yellow, that's difficult, which he hasn't. He's snookered himself. I was looking at the one that was near the bulk line. If he could have gotten on that would have been a coup.
Just going to need to play this one with a bit of bottom right. Not quite enough. And the only thing I was thinking on that shot, because to be fair, no, so it was Adam who played a couple of similar shots. I just know that I'd watched Adam try to play a couple of those kicks loaded up with side earlier and struggling to judge them, and I was just wondering if we might see a similar struggle on that attempt. I mean, they're hard shots at the best of times.
Shot at him. The plastic triangle, that's called a shark rack, Jay Scott, and they're a relatively new addition to pool here, and whilst they might be annoying if they stay on the table, they ensure a nice tight rack every time, a tight consistent rack.
They're brilliant for the game. I think any of these top players who've used them just swear by them. I mean, you just guarantee you're going to get a good spread of balls, you're going to get a more open frame. It's better for the spectators as well. The only drawback is that you have to remove them from the table, and occasionally that might mean you need to respot a ball. But for me, the positives far outweigh the negatives on that one. All the guys I speak to playing much prefer playing the game with the shark rack, because there's nothing worse than when you rack the balls up, give them a break, and they barely move because there was a gap in there or something like that. So, personally, I think they're fantastic.
I think the word there is consistency, isn't it? It's a consistent rack every time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame the rack because, well, obviously you rack them, but you can't blame the rack if the balls don't split the way you want. It's always your break that's at fault.
Again, for me, it's it's perhaps being in with the promoter hat on, is that we're trying to grow and promote the game. We want more people playing, more people watching, and it's much more exciting to both play and watch if there's a lot more balls being sunk, run-outs made, clearances made. Not many people enjoy watching a tight, tippy-tappy tactical frame. That's just the reality. So, hey, if we're getting bigger breaks, bigger spreads, more clearances, I'm all for it.
Well, that's part of promoting the game, isn't he? He's going to screw into this yellow, isn't he? Well, I thought he was anyway. That's ended up real ugly.
Yeah. Not a great shot. I mean, I was just looking at him queuing up at that, thinking, man, it's a great chance for him to grab another frame back, but
7-5 Adam Shaw now over Steve Denton.
Adam Shaw on the hill against Steve.
My bladder always betrays me. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, you're alright. At least I'll be able to commentate for 5 or 10 minutes without anybody interrupting me, John.
Cheers, buddy.
I'm not going to let you forget that.
No, I know.
So yeah, Adam and Steve came down to the wire on the opposite table. Obviously not covered on the stream, but Steve a former national champ, Adam a former national finalist. 7-5 to Adam in a race to 8 at the moment. But back to the match at hand. Baden is primed to close this one out. Into the rail and out. Perfect. Can't see anything slipping up here, so while Adam has hung in there and tried to make a match of it, Baden's early lead looks like it was too big for Adam to close, and there you have it. Baden Jackson takes it out 8-4 over Adam Lightning Lily. So disappointing result for Adam. I know that one will hurt him. Adam, good buddy of mine down here. I was rooting for him, hoping to see him do well, but Baden so far has been he's been class in this whole Super League series. For those who watched the North Islands, he was absolutely the standout player. He didn't just win it, but he dominated it, and looks like he's brought that form to the Nationals to keep it going. So I guess Baden through to the semis.
Are you going to stick to your 12:30? So we'll cut the stream because it's going to be out left for too long. So just let them know.
So just taking a quick look at the draw looking ahead. So with 3 of the quarterfinals complete, we have the second semi-finalists, the players for the second semi-final are confirmed. Sorry, made an absolute meal of that one. So semi-final number 2, we'll see Baden Jackson playing Simon Singleton. Huge matchup, that one. And so we've got Des Wilcox is already into the first semi-final, and he will be playing the winner of Adam Shaw and Steve Denton. Adam Shaw is currently 7-5 up on Steve Denton. So we're just going to wrap it up for now, guys. We're scheduled for a 12:30 start for the semi-finals. There is a possibility we may start a little bit earlier if all of them are done and ready to go earlier, but at this stage we're looking at 12:30 start for the semi-finals. So thanks for watching the quarterfinals this morning. Stay tuned into our Facebook pages, on Q Streaming, and just keep tabs for when the next stream will be up, and we'll see you